Chapter 39. Shatter the Chains. The flames burned brighter, and the air grew thick with magic. Decima couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. The name carved into the throne, Ryxa, echoed in her mind like a bell, ringing louder with each heartbeat. It was ancient, old as the stone, older than the dragons who had once ruled. "Ryx," she whispered, voice trembling. "The first," the voice answered, its depth shaking the ground beneath her. The crown. The flame. The one who was lost. Decima's fingers curled into the obsidian, unwilling to let go. "Who are you?" "I am the beginning. The end, the cycle." The throne pulsed once, sending a shockwave through the room. Decima's legs buckled as the air thickened, pulling her to the stone beneath. For a moment, the world went silent. Then, images rushed forward. A woman, tall and regal, with eyes like fire and hair like molten gold. Her form flickered like a ghost, draped in robes of shadow and flame. She wore a crown that gleamed with dragonstone. She turned toward Decima, her lips curling into a smile. "You are mine." Decima gasped, her pulse quickening. I am not you. I am not hers." The figure laughed, a sound that made the stone tremble. "You are me," she said, her voice vibrating through Decima's bones. "The same flame, the same blood. The crown is passed on in cycles, but it always ends here. With you." On the surface, the dragons began to grow restless. Serenfae circled above the sanctuary. Daniel stood on the edge, his eyes narrowed. "Something's happening," he muttered. "Decima." He couldn't feel her anymore, not clearly. The bond was shifting again. The warmth that had once pulsed between them was fading, replaced by a cold, distant pressure. "We have to go down there," he said urgently. But before he could move, a gust of wind swept through the trees, a deep, low sound echoing through the branches. Serenfae landed beside him. The earth stirs. The flames have awakened. Back in the chamber, Decima fell to her knees. She saw the throne again. But this time, the crown was no longer just a symbol. It was a chain, wrapped around her neck, around her heart. "I won't wear it," she whispered, feeling the cold pressure around her chest. The figure in the flames smiled again. "You already do." The woods were too quiet. Decima stood alone beneath the twisted canopy of Coed-i Gorsed, the sacred grove where witches once sealed, blood oaths and whispered spells into bark. The air felt stretched, taut like a thread ready to snap. Her hands glowed faintly, but something was wrong. Her fire was flickering, unstable. She could feel it, like something inside her was shifting out of tune. Then came the sound. A hush, followed by footsteps. Not Daniel, not Serenfae. Someone else. A voice slid through the trees like silk dipped in poison. "So this is what the Stormborn looks like up close." Decima Wren. Merin stepped from the shadows, cloaked in layered black veils, eyes gleaming like coals left too long in the hearth. Her presence was wrong, too cold, too still. Her power clung to the ground like mist, making the trees recoil. "You don't belong here," Decima said, lifting her hand, fire flaring at her fingertips. "And yet," Merin said softly, "here I am." Before Decima could strike, the witch's hands moved. Too fast, too old. Symbols flared in the air. Blood-bound, soul-sown. Spirits screamed out of the dirt. Rising in pale coils. Bound souls from unborn children. Broken witches and failed bonds. Their mouths gaped, eyeless, silent, but full of agony. They twisted around Decima's legs, reaching for her skin, pulling at her power. Decima gritted her teeth. "You traffic in cursed souls." "They come willingly," Merin interrupted. "I give them purpose." "Unlike you." The spirit surged, clawing at Decima's chest. Her fire faltered, her heart staggered in her ribs. Then, a roar split the air. Serenfae. The dragon dropped from the sky like a comet, wings blazing, teeth bared. Her tail swept the grove, blasting Merin back in a torrent of air and fire. The cursed spirits shrieked as they scattered, fleeing back into the soil. Merin stood, blood on her lip, dress torn, smoke rising from her skin. But she didn't scream. She only smiled. "You can't hold her forever," she said. "The trap is already seated." Before Decima could move, Merin vanished, ribbons of smoke curling into nothing. But something remained. Where Merin had stood, a shard of blackened bone pulsed on the ground, wrapped in strands of Decima's own hair. As Decima knelt to examine it, her vision blurred. A tremble rippled through her hands. Her magic sparked, then hissed. Something had changed. Something inside her had been touched. And the chains were no longer only outside. They were beginning to form within.